Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adigaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, you are welcome for study of Bhakti Vaibhava, study of third canto Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in the second section of the third canto. The pastime of Kardamuni, the son of Brahma, and Devahuti, the daughter of Swayambhu Manu, and the incarnation Kapil Dev. Yesterday, we discussed chapter 21. That chapter actually described in that chapter, desire of Vidur was to know the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu's 2 sons and 3 daughters. Such exalted rulers, Raj Rishis, their pastimes are worth hearing for enlightenment. And the descendant of the daughters of Swayambhu Manu, the Prajapati, are all chaste, pious, and Sarva Guna Sampanna. So Kardamuni's austerities and penance before entering into the grast life for begetting children to fulfill the order and desire of his father, Lord Brahma. The place he selected was bank of river Saraswati. Siddh is called Siddhpur place, and the exact site is Bindu Sarovar. By his sincere austerities, he satisfied the Supreme Lord, and Lord appeared there, Vishnu, in his pleasing original 4-handed form, and Kardamuni offered his prayers to the Lord. The sense of the prayers is the devotion to the Lord is unconditional. In return, if you need something, then it is not very praiseworthy. And therefore, Kardamuni said, I am sorry, my dear Lord, I have material desire, though one should not ask anything from you. But since my father wanted to create the progeny, so I need your blessing to enter into the household life. This was the essence of his prayer. And Lord Vishnu, I am satisfied by your obedience to the order of your father and sincere austerities. Day after tomorrow, Swayambhu Manu will bring his suitable daughter and all qualities matching with you. And please also remember that with my portion I will appear as your son. Let your desire be fulfilled. So this is the Lord Vishnu's blessing to Kardam Muni. And then at the hermitage of Kardam Muni came Swayambhu Manu in a chariot with his wife, along with Devhuti, the daughter. And surely kings come, he has his entourage with him, the minister and somebody. So when he paid his obeisance to Kardam Muni, since Kardam Muni is a Brahman, of course both are son of same Brahma. Swayambhu Manu is also son of Brahma, Kardam is also son of Brahma. In one sense they are brothers. But one is a Brahman and other is a Kshatri. So keeping the etiquette, Swayambhu Manu offered his respectful obeisance to the Kardam Muni. And Kardam Muni indirectly told Swayambhu Manu the duties of a pious king. So this is some little essay you should write from the last verses where Kardam Muni is addressing Swayambhu Manu, where there are all description of a gentle, devoted, protective to the citizen in spiritual matters, the duties of a king. So you have to write this small paragraph, couple paragraphs, what are the duties of a ideal king in a Vedic system. And these are the questions of Kardam Muni asked from Swayambhu Manu indirectly. And now Manu is actually, Swayambhu Manu is saying, thank you very much for actually enlightening me in my duties as a ruler. So this is the one thing from chapter 21 that we should, duties of a, and who is actually a ideal king in Bhagavatam, by the way? Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj is considered the ideal king. His all activities are perfectly for a royal rulers. Of course, Lord Ramachandra is also an ideal king. And both are, by the way, incarnation of the Lord. One is full and one is partial. And both actually has established the best governance. So now, today we are starting chapter 22. And this chapter 22nd describe how king, after speaking in a pleasing manner to Kardam Muni and giving his daughter to Kardam Muni in marriage, and Kardam Muni is knower of the truth, returned to his kingdom. So these are the section in the chapter 22nd. So the first, it means king will speak first. So let us see. So this first 7 verses, Swayambhu Manu glorifies Kardam Muni. So this is a general principle. Whenever and wherever you have some request for some favor from anybody, the standard method prescribed in Vedic literature is genuinely glorify and praise the qualities of a person. By the way, which is the first prayer in the Bhagavatam? Kunti Maharani? 3 verses. Yes. Arjun. when Ashwasthama has released his Brahmastra, then 5 are such verses are actually a first prayer in Bhagavatam. And in the purport of those prayers, Prabhupada has written, Srila Prabhupada, that yes, this is a standard method. If you want favor from Lord, you glorify Him, praise Him, and then ask for that. So this is the first prayer in Bhagavatam, Arjuna. So I think 5 verses are there. So here Swayambhu Manu is following the same standard of glorifying Kardam Muni. The intention is he wanted to actually have a favor from Kardam Muni to accept his daughter, in marriage. But before that, he is actually glorifying the Kardam Muni. So, verse number 1. Maitriya vacha evam avishkartya asesha guna karma udayo munim Swarida iva tam samrada uparatam vachaha. So the translation says, Maitreya said to Vidur, after describing the greatness of emperor's manifold qualities, who? Kardam Muni. And the activities, qualities of the emperor and activities. Qualities are in his person, activities are his performance. The sage Kardam Muni becomes silent. And the emperor, feeling modesty, this word is modesty, this is the word. Savida. Savida is modesty. Addressed him as follows. Samrat is king. Samrat. So, Chakravarti Pad writes, the excellence of king's unlimited qualities and activities had been described. So that is the article you have to write. From the words of Kardam Muni addressed to Swayambhu Manu. He spoke to the sage who becomes silent, or who was detached from everything, uparatam. There are 2 ways. He stopped talking. There's one meaning of uparatam. The other is he was already detached from everything. What it means is that he was not expecting anything from king. Some rich man comes, we think he will give some donation, something like that. That is the one idea. But he was not. Upartam means he was not at all expecting any favor from king. And there is basically, this is the quality of a sadhu, a yachak. A yachak sadhu is the best and the topmost. Sadhu like Madhavendra Puri, not even going for Madhukari. Hare Krishna, my class already. So, Srila Prabhupada once was giving class in Vrindavan, and he said, anybody coming to our temple, we should look into their heart and see their sincerity, that they have come to temple because of their pious activities. And we should give them signs of Krishna and make them understand who is Krishna and what is their relation with Krishna, instead of looking in their pocket what he will give. And then Srila Prabhupada said, I started in this movement with 40 rupees Indian. Now we are 40 billions worth of assets all over the world. It means the assets and wealth is a byproduct of preaching. Is a sadhu. He should simply preach, everything will be provided. So this is a very famous lecture of Srila Prabhupada for devotees really when they are living in the temple, and anybody who is coming is actually a guest for the presiding deity of the temple, and we are the servant living in the temple to take care of them properly and give them Krishna consciousness. So our whole motive is, if they give their heart to Krishna, they will give everything. Why we should ask some little thing from them? Why not their whole life? Like you have given your whole life to Krishna because somebody preached to you. It's easy to give some, donation, but it's very difficult to give life. So therefore it is better, we should be more interested in preaching Krishna consciousness, and the requirement which we need is a byproduct. Krishna will provide them automatically. There is no any shortage of anything in Krishna consciousness. And once Indrajit Maharaj was saying that when I was president in France, my only whole mood was to please the deities with all first-class service. And I realized that deities were taking care of the rest of the things. You please the Supreme Lord, and then your all needs are automatically, and all your comforts are automatically met with. This is Prabhupada's one purport in Bhagavad Gita. 1858, most probably. 1858, see the purport. Krishna become intimate friend, and he look after the comfort of his devotees, and he give himself to the devotee. He become intimate friend. Can you find these words in a purport? This is Srila Prabhupada's personal realization. One who is engaged 24 hours in the service of Krishna, Krishna become intimate friend. He look after the comforts, not needs, comforts of his devotee, and he gives himself to a devotee.
So one who accepts Krishna, when Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend, he always looks after his friend's comfort and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged with him 24 hours a day to keep him.
What do you think about this purport? This is Prabhupada's personal realization. Krishna become intimate friend. He gave all the comforts, not needs. Krishna is opulent. Anybody who serves Krishna is also get all the opulences. But what Prabhupada's opulence was unparalleled in the history. So this purport, you should always remember that if you preach for Krishna, Krishna will provide everything. And this should be actually the mood of all the devotees. Because most of the devotees are, it is a very superficial platform. They don't have that deep realization that Krishna within our heart knows our intention. And if we are sincere and we want to really serve him, then he will provide everything to carry out our service properly. But if we have any little tangential ulterior motive, then he will reciprocate like that. So nothing is hidden from Krishna. So, Upartam, we are discussing Upartam. Upartam means a devotee should be free from any material aspiration from anybody. Only he should enlighten the people in spiritual knowledge, or giving them the direction in their prescribed duties.
Because not everybody
what you are saying is that because everybody cannot become devotee, so we should ask them to give something to the Krishna. Yes, this is in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It says these, stages. First, you give your mind and intelligence. If you are not able to do, then do the regular person of devotional service. If you are not able to do, then you give something what you earn. So these are the also levels of that. But those who are coming to the temple, our motive should be to give them Krishna consciousness. And even Prabhupada, he raised the funds by making life members in exchange of his books. So he wanted to give them the literature. By that they can become devotee in due course of time. Maybe in some other life, no problem. But the seed is shown by that. And he gave them the facility to come in the temple and have the association of devotees and blessing of the deities. So he made that program, but we are completely not very successful in that program also. We make members enthusiastic, but we never take care of them properly. Our biggest enemies are our life members. Yeah, we have seen this. We never take care of them when they come back. So, the thing is, if we would have given Krishna consciousness to them, then there would not have been any problem. We gave them material allurements. You will receive, or you come to airport, your car will receive you, then you'll get good things. This is what, which would have said that you have started serving Krishna by your little this contribution. And if you continue chanting holy name, your life will be perfect. We should have given them proper Krishna consciousness. It depends upon them how much they take. So the point thing is, uparatam. Uparatam is Kardam Muni. He was not expecting any favor from Manu. That is what it means. He was embraced who? King Swambhu Manu was embraced because of hearing his own glories. This is another good thing. If somebody glorify you, you should be actually, humble down rather than become proud. To be embraced, I'm not worthy of that. And because of description of the occupation, his occupation, which means Kshatriya as a king, where he himself was completely dedicated to the Lord, because he was also a humble servant of the Supreme Lord. So now the next verse. Manurvacha Brahmaha srajatsva mukto yusman atma paripasya chandomayastapo vidya yoga yuktam alampatam. You can see Brahma asrajasva mukho. Supreme Lord in a universal form created Brahmans from his own face or mouth. Yusham Atma Paripashyad. Why he did that? Atma Paripashyad, to protect himself by expanding. Protect himself means Brahman should protect himself by what? Chandomaya. Chandomaya means from the Vedic knowledge. Tapo means austerity. And Vidya, education. Yoga Yuktam, connected with Supreme Lord by process of yoga. Alampatam is most important, not interested in sense enjoyment. So these are the characteristics of a Brahman, in other words. So here, Manu replied, to expand himself in Vedic knowledge, Lord Brahma, the personified Veda, from his face created you, the Brahmanas, who are full of austerity, knowledge and mystic power and are averse to sense gratification. Brahmanas endowed with austerity, knowledge, and yoga from his face. The purpose of the Veda is to protect the transcendental knowledge. So, Srila Prabhupada immediately says, Vedesya sarver ahame vedyo. So the purpose of Veda is to know Krishna. And the Brahmins are created from mouth of the Brahma to spread this message of Krishna consciousness, basically speaking. But the Brahman should have these qualities. What are the qualities of Brahman? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that the Vedas are meant, this we know. And now, it is specially mentioned here, Yoga Yuktam Alampantam, that Brahmans are full of mystic powers and are completely averse to sense gratification. Actually, there are two kinds of occupation. This is something, again, I am giving you one sort of little essay you have to write, is like this. Throughout our Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we have two types of creation. Even the third canto has two types of creation, divine and demonic. And this is the verse of Bhagavad Gita, Devav Sargo Loke Asman Dev Asur Evacha. There are two types of creation, the demonic creation and divine creation. So we already discussed that the criteria for the two creation is, on what criteria would we divide the demonic from the demonic? Scripture. Following the instruction of Scripture is the number one. Now you make a complete list. The demonic characteristic, divine characteristic. Following Scripture, not following Scripture, number one. Number two, you find out those who are Vishnu Bhakta are divine and those who are against that are Asura. There's some verses like that. Those who are in mode of goodness are divine and those who are in mode of patient ignorance are demonic. Now here there is another, and yesterday in a couple more places you find out these things and make a big list of the divine nature of the people and demonic nature of the people. So here you see now there are two types of occupations. What are the two? One occupation is in material world is sense gratification. And the other occupation is spiritual activity to satisfy the Lord by His glorification. Those who engage in sense gratification are demons. And those who spread the glorification of the Lord are to satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord are called demigods. So this is one other point you have to write. Those interested in sense gratification are demonic. Those who want to satisfy the senses of Krishna are divine. So you already we have some more points earlier. You just put a list like that. And always, remember, and that this will remind you that I must have divine quality rather than demonic. So when we think that we are going wrong, at least this will guide us to be on a right path. And also for preaching, we can tell people can themselves understand in which category they fall, divine or demonic. So if you have a clear-cut list of these from the literature, that will be nice. Okay? It is especially mentioned here that the Brahmins are created from the face of the cosmic personality of Virat Purush. See, it's a little Brahma, but actually Virat Purush. From the arms. And sometimes it is said from the chest. So Vaishya are created from the west and Shudras created from legs. Brahman is specially meant for austerity, learning and knowledge, and are averse to all kinds of sense gratification. Now, why this glorification of Kardam Muni by Swayambhu Manu? Reason is fearing the sage would refuse his daughter in marriage. Manu first explained with reasoning The relationship verse. Brahma created Brahman with a desire to persevere the Veda by propagating them Atma Pariprasya. Next verse. For the protection of the Brahman, the thousand-legged Supreme Being created us Kshatriya from his 1,000 arms. Hence, Brahmans are said to be his heart and Kshatriya his arm. Now he's saying Brahmans are created from mouth, Kshatriya is created from his arms, from Virat Purusha. Now, what is the function of Kshatriya? To protect Brahmana. And what is the function of Brahmana? To enlighten Kshatriya. So they must protect one another. So here we have Srila Prabhupada's purport. Kshatriya are especially meant to maintain the Brahmans. Because Brahmans are protected, then the head of civilization is protected. Brahman is like a head. The Brahmans are supposed to be the head of the society. If the head is clear and has not gone mad, then everything is in proper position. The Lord is described here. Thus, Namo Brahman Devaya Go Brahman Hitaya. The mission of the Lord is that Brahmanical culture and the cows should be protected. First is cow, go, then Brahman. And then Jagat Hitaya. Third is the... So, protection of cow, Brahman, and thus Brahmanical culture and cow protection are the basic principle of human civilization. Kshatriyas are meant to protect Brahmans as is the supreme will of the Lord. Go Brahman Hitaya. As within body, the heart is very important part. So heart is considered to the Brahmana. It's a very important part. So the Brahmanas are also important element in the human society. Kshatriya are more alike like whole body. Even though the whole body is bigger than the heart, but heart is more important. So this is Prabhupada's mood when he started Krishna conscious movement. He said all over the world, there are mostly people are either Vaishyas or Shudras, or capitalists or communists. The world is divided into two, capitalists and communists. Capitalists are the Vaishyas and communists are the Shudras. There's no real Kshatriya, there's no real Brahman. So Prabhupada's first intention was to start training the people as a Brahmana. If we have a Brahmanical culture established, then the rest of the society can be put in order in due course of time. But now is a time really to also train the Kshatriya. Because Brahman needs protection. You create Brahman, but if they are not protected, then the culture will not flourish. So even in the time of Prabhupada, in England, in America, they had a political party, in God we trust. This is the slogan written on a dollar bill, in God we trust. And there was somebody who fought for election to be the legislative, something like that. But it was too early and we were not ready for it. In Australia also same thing was started. So anyway, during the time of Prabhupada, there was a need for creating a qualified Kshatriya. But till now, even we don't have a registered vote of our devotees in the temple. This is we are even not actually conscious of this, that if we have a congregation of, say, lakhs of people all over India, and if we are organized together, then people will come to us. We may not have our own leaders, but the leader will come to us, and they are obliged to give protection because we are there. But we never have that set up in the ISKCON culture. But there is a need. Someday we have to create the Kshatriya and the society for protection of the Brahmanas. Prabhupada wrote even at some time that like Manipuris, we should have soldiers also to protect our temples. A temple of this size must have at least, say, 20, 25 Kshatris, really soldiers to protect in any odd situation. Yes. We have nobody, none of these security will do anything when there is a trouble. Yeah. Because it is not their job. They are not Kshatriya basically, they are Shudra. By nature, they are not. Paid check is a Shudra. Anybody who is paid by check is a Shudra. This is the standard. Brahmana live by Dakshina. Kshatriya live by taxes. Vaishya live by trading. Only Shudra gets salary. Yes, this is the standard. And by the way, still today, the workers get salary, the government get taxes, only Brahmans are not given Dakshina. Therefore, the Brahmanical culture is dwindling. It's a big disaster in the society, basically speaking. In bygone days, all the gurukuls were sponsored by the kings and very wealthy people. The student has not to pay a penny. Even clothing, boarding, lodging, books were all provided. They have simply to study. That is protection of Brahmanical culture. We don't have our own school. We charge so much that the fathers lose 10 hairs every day. No? No. So anyway, we are failure in many. You are young, you may have to really fulfill the desire of Prabhupada. Somehow, we need to train our own Kshatriyas. So, who will protect Brahman? From his 1,000 arms he created Kshatriya. Thus they are one with Lord. Who will protect Kshatriya? The Brahmans will do this. When someone comes to attack the heart is seen to be protected by the arms. When the arms are attacked, one can't track the body and the arms are protected within the heart. Thus the protector of the heart is the arm and the protector heart is heart. So, Brahman and Kshatriya, they must cooperate. That's the main thing. Now, verse number 4. Atohe anyo anyam atmanam brahma kshatram cha rakshita. Every Brahman protects Kshatri, Kshatri protect Brahman. Rakshati sama avyo devaha. If we do like that, then both will be protected by Supreme Lord. Sa yaha sad asad atmaka, one who is the cause and effect of this world. So it means if we cooperate, the whole purpose Srila Prabhupada is, if the Varna Ashram is a cooperative, then God will help them. So this purport is very good, particularly in some see here. The entire social structure of the Varna Ashram is cooperative system, meant to uplift all to the highest platform of spiritual realization. The Brahmins are intended to be protected by Kshatriya, and Kshatriya also are intended to be enlightened by Brahmanas. When the Brahmanas and Kshatriya cooperate nicely, the other subordinate divisions, the Vaishyas and Shudras, Vaishyas are mercantile people and Shudras are labor class, automatically flourish. The entire elaborate system of Vedic society was therefore based on importance of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. So now is a time for ISKCON, which is now quite successful in establishing Brahmanical culture. Now there is a need for training Kshatriya. The Lord is the real protector, but he is unattached to the affairs of protection. He created Brahmanas for the protection of Kshatriya and Kshatriya for the protection of Brahmana. He remains aloof from all activities. Therefore, he is called Nirvikara. Thoda aisi kam. Nirvikara. Which means without activity. He has nothing to do. He is so great that he does not perform action personally, but his energies act. The Brahmanas and Kshatriya and anything that we see are different energies acting upon one another. Although individual souls are all different, the super soul or super self or super soul is the supreme. Individually, one's self may differ from others in certain qualities and may engage in different activities such as those of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Vaishyas. But when there is a complete cooperation among different individual souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul, Paramatma being one in every individual soul, is pleased and give them all protection. So, if the four social orders protect one another, cooperate, then the Lord will protect them all. As stated before, Brahmans are produced from the mouth of the Lord, and the Kshatriya produced from the chest or arm of the Lord. If the different castes and social sections, although apparently differently occupied in different activities, nevertheless act in full cooperation, then the Lord is pleased. This is the idea of institution of Varna and Ashram. If the members of the different ashram and Varna cooperate fully in Krishna consciousness, then society is well protected by Lord without doubt. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that Lord is proprietor of all different bodies. Kshetra, Kshetragya. There is a Kshetra, Kshetragya. Individual soul and this super soul is another Kshetragya for all the bodies. So this portion is speak like that. He's not Kshetragya only of the human beings. He's Kshetragya for all living entities, birds, beasts, and everybody. He is supreme proprietor. Therefore, he does not become divided by protecting the different individual souls. He remains one and the same. That is then the analogy, sun on everybody's head does not mean that sun are many, the one sun. But everybody thinks that he's on my head. So this is the analogy of super soul as a Kshatragya. Now, another purport I think is very interesting. Brahman protects Kshatriya by strength of the austerity. How Brahman protects Kshatriya? By strength of austerity. If Brahman is austere, then he will protect the Kshatriya by properly enlightening him. And Kshatriya protect the Brahman by the strength of his body. That's called Kshatri Tej and Brahman Tej. Brahman Tej comes from austerity, Kshatri Tej comes from his bodily strength and power. Actually, however, the Supreme Lord, who is the cause and effect, who is without change, Avyayaha, protects both ultimately. Now, next. Verse number 5. Tav sandarshanadeva chinna me sarva sangshaha yata swayam bhagavan prityaha dharmam aha ririkshoshoha. So, this verse says, now I have resolved all my doubts simply by meeting you, because you told me what are the rules and regulations for a Kshatriya. So I am enlightened by you, Brahman. So you done your job to protect me. For your lordship has very kindly and clearly explained the duty of king who desire to protect his subjects. So you have helped me by guiding me how to rule kingdom. So now, Srila Prabhupada writes, Manu described here with the result of seeing a great saintly person. So Prabhupada's mood is sadhu sanga, sarva shastra kahe, lav matra sadhu sanga, sarva siddhi ho. So this is the mood. And this is the verse quoted here. Moments of association with a saintly person attain all perfection. So this is the verse quoted. Now, somehow or other, if one meets a saintly person and achieve his favor, not only meets, achieve his favor. Meeting saintly person, the mosquito meets the saintly person, what benefit he get? Huh? Nothing. So he gets his favor, then the entire mission of one's human life is fulfilled. In our personal experience, Prabhupada says, myself, my humble self, met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati just for a moment. And he asked me to preach to the Western world. And now you see I am carrying out his order. So he's saying, giving example of love, Mahatar Sadhu Sangha, of himself meeting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Now, thus, it is actually fact that if one meets a saintly person completely engaged in transcendental, which saintly person? What is the qualification of that saintly person? Completely engaged in transcendental duties. Completely engaged in transcendental duties. And if one gets achieve his favor, then one's life mission becomes complete. What is not possible to achieve in thousands of lives can be achieved in one moment. If there is an opportunity to meet a saintly person, it is therefore enjoined in Vedic literature that one should always try to associate with saintly person and try to dissociate oneself from the common man. What is that? Satovrti Sangatyagat. Okay? Because by one word of a saintly person, one can be liberated from material entanglement. A saintly person has the power, because of his spiritual advancement, to give immediate liberation to the conditioned soul. Here Manu admits that all his doubts are now over, because Kardam has very kindly described the different duties of individual souls. So you have any experience of meeting saintly person in your life? Some example from history? Huh? Dhruva Maharaj met for a moment Narad Rishi. Even Prahlad within the womb have a association of Narad, Mrgari. In your own life, you have any story to tell by meeting saintly person? There is a change in your life? Somebody can tell good story in his personal life and somebody else's life you have seen. Our Bada Haridas here, he just have a moment association with Prabhupada, even in a newspaper. And just looking at his watch, he went all the way to Hyderabad to meet Prabhupada. And he was sold to Prabhupada simply by one meeting. And he's a living example. Now you can have this. Simply just a moment of meeting with Prabhupada, his life changed. You know. And he was helping in a kitchen for cutting vegetable, and Prabhupada was giving initiation. He simply he said, can I go and see what's going on there? And when he was there, Prabhupada said, you sit, I'm giving you initiation. Just like that. And then he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, make a passport. He said, I don't know what is my father's name. He was with his mother. He was not actually knowing who is what is it. He said, Prabhupada said, okay, you write my name as father's name. His is the only passport which Prabhupada is the father there. Can you see the change in a person for just a moment's association? That puff rice taken by a stewardess on the way in 71. And then she became a devotee in 81. So there is a moment's association with sadhu. You can have so many examples. In a present time also. Some personal examples. You have some, you know somebody? Hare Krishna, no?
One boy was like, last year he met one another boy. He asked about Ekadashi, following Ekadashi and things, and he said, class is going on, why don't you come? So he came to temple, he met, then discussion was happening, and he shared that I was supposed to commit suicide because of family things. Because now like 20 years, 20, 21 years. So after he came, he sat in the class, met devotees and things. Now he was very happy. Even though family crisis was there, still he was like overcoming that and practicing devotional service, chanting 16 rounds every day.
Okay, there are many examples you will find out in the history. Okay, verse number 6. दृष्ट्या मे भगवान दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो अकृतात्मनाम दृष्ट्या पादरजः स्पृष्टम सृष्णाः मे भवतः शिवम. It's very difficult to meet such saintly people like yourself and taking the dust of your lotus feet. And only those who can get that, a Kritatman cannot get it, but the Kritatman can get it. So the purport is on Kritatman and the glories of dust of lotus feet of pure devotee. So here is the purport which says, it is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot easily be seen by person who have not subdued mind and controlled their senses. Akrititman. I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your lotus feet. So Prabhupada's purport is on these two words. Dust of the lotus feet of a devotee and controlling the mind and senses. The perfection of transcendental life can be achieved simply by touching the holy dust of the lotus feet of holy men. Bhagavatam said, Mahat Pada Rajo Abhishekam. Mahat Pada Rajo Abhishekam, which means to be blessed by the holy dust of lotus feet of Mahat, a great devotee. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas Tumam Parat Devim Prakritim Ashritaha. And their symptom are they are fully engaged in Krishna consciousness for the service of the Lord. Therefore, they are called Mat. Unless one is fortunate enough to have the dust of lotus feet of Mahatma, on one said there is no possible of perfection in spiritual life. Parampara system of disciplic succession is very important as a means of spiritual success. One becomes Mahat by the grace of his Mahat spiritual master. Now, this is a very important person if I understand the duties of a spiritual master. Any other verses coming in your mind where the glories of the dust of lotus feet of devotees there? Three things are most important in Bhakta Pada Jala, Bhakta Pada Dhuli, Bhava Avate Avasesha, Tino Mahabal. So one of them is dust of the lotus feet of Hare Krishna. Now, parampara system, see, and this is important. If one takes shelter of lotus feet of great soul, there is a very possibility of once also becoming a great soul. When the Maharaj Rahugan asked Jad Bharat about his wonderful achievement of spiritual success, and he replied to the king that spiritual success is not possible simply by following rituals of religion, or simply by converting oneself into a sannyasi, or offering sacrifice as recommended in the scripture. So these are all rituals. There's one poetry in Sindhi language for Muslims. Roza ay nimazun ipan changu kam. You know, offering prayers every day 5 times, nimaz, roza, fasting, is good. Ukobyo fam, that is a different, completely different activity. Ukobyo, jaisa parchi preek, by that you can actually love God. By these activities you can never develop love of God. These are simply outer activities. So they are good, but they are not the actual goal. Rozai namazu ipan changu kam ukobyo fam jaisa parchi preek. By that you can really please the Supreme Lord and awaken your love for God. That is something different, not this. Now what is this here? These methods are undoubtedly helpful for spiritual realization, but the real effect is brought about by the grace of Mahatma. In Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's prayers, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavad Prasado, Yasya Prasada, Nagati Utopi. So, if one cannot satisfy a spiritual master, one has no access to the spiritual perfection. Here the word Akritatmanam is very significant. Atma means body, soul or mind. Three meanings of the Atma. Here the word Akritatman is very significant. Akritatma means common man who cannot control the senses or mind. Because the common man is unable to control the senses and mind, it is duty to seek the shelter of great soul or a great devotee of the Lord and just try to please him. That will make his life perfect. A common man cannot rise to the topmost stage of spiritual perfection simply by following the rituals and religious principles. He has to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master and work under the direction faithfully and sincerely. Then he becomes perfect without a doubt. Next. Last verse of this section, verse number 7. Drishtya tvaya anushishto aham kritascha anugraho mahan apavrtaihi karanarandrai jushtaha dishtayo shatai graha. I have fortunately been instructed by you, and thus great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words. So what most important for the disciple is to hear from a spiritual master. That's most important. The instruction, not some secret mantra. The spiritual master is not simply to give secret mantra, but he is to give you Sadi Mam Tva Param. Krishna says, Arjuna says, please instruct me. He never says, give me some mantra. And Krishna spoke 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he destroyed all the doubts of Arjuna. So that is the function of a spiritual master. So here, Srila Rupa Goswami has given direction in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I am reading, you tell me what are they. On how to accept a bona fide spiritual master and how to deal with him. First, the desiring candidate must find a spiritual master, and then he must eagerly receive instruction from him and execute them. What is this? Where is this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? 64 angas of the devotional service, and first 3 are most important. What are the names in Sanskrit? Guru Padashraya, then Siksha Diksha, and Sushroho Sevaya. So approaching, getting initiation and instruction, and serving. That's what is written here, okay? A bona fide spiritual master saintly person always desires to elevate a common man who comes to him. Because everyone is under the delusion of Maya and is forgetful of his prime duty, Krishna consciousness, a saintly person always desires that everyone become a saintly person. It is the function of a saintly person to invoke Krishna consciousness in every forgetful common man. Now, Manu said that since he was advised and instructed by Kardam Muni, he was very much favored. He considered himself lucky to receive the message by oral reception. It is specially mentioned here that one should be very inquisitive to hear with open ears from an authorized source, a bona fide spiritual master. How is one to receive? One should receive the transmitted message by oral reception. The word Karana Randhrai means through the holes of the ears. The favor of the spiritual master is not perceived through any other part of the body but the ears. This does not mean, however, that the spiritual master gives a particular type of mantra through the ears in exchange for some dollars, and if a man meditate on that, he achieves perfection and become God. within 6 months. That is bogus. Such reception through the ear is bogus. The real fact is that the bona fide spiritual master knows the nature. Now I'm reading something which you see how Prabhupada has actually practiced that, instituted that. And you can see mostly now we are not having such type of experience. Now I'm reading, carefully read this. Listen this. Such a reception through the ear, okay. The real fact is that bona fide spiritual master know the nature of a particular man and what sort of duties he can perform in Krishna consciousness. And he instruct him in that way. What actually it means. Spiritual master has immediately to determine his varna. Is he Brahmanical inclined? Is he has a Kshatri tendency? Is a Vaish mood? Or a working class? This is the business of a spiritual master, to decide the varna of a disciple. And then engage in that particular duty to serve Krishna. Now see here. What is that? He instruct him through the ears, not privately, but publicly. Open yajna he instructed, not privately. You are fit for such and such work in Krishna consciousness. You can act in this way. One person is advised to act in Krishna consciousness by working in the deity's room. Another advised to act in Krishna consciousness by performing editorial work. Another advised to do preaching work. Another is advised to carry out the Krishna consciousness in cooking department. These are the different departmental activities in Krishna consciousness, and spiritual master, knowing the particular ability of a particular man, train him in such a way that by his tendency to act, he become perfect. This is the most important part actually in a purport. Prabhupada, he asked Satsaru Maharaj to take care of editing and printing something. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, go and do administration. Garga Muni, raise fund, make money. You know, he individually engage every devotee according to his, oh, you are artist, you serve, now it will come artist, you just do the artwork. So a spiritual master determine the actually tendency in a disciple and engage that tendency in service of Krishna. अब ऐसे कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है आजकल, ऐसे कहीं हो रहा है, सबको एक ही लाठी से हाँकने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है, नहीं? प्रभुपाद, आप देखो, ये फैक्ट्री खोलो, सन्यासी का काम नहीं है, स्पिरिचुअल स्काई खोलो, बुक प्रिंटिंग खोलो, प्रिंटिंग प्रेस खोलो, रामेश्वर प्रिंटिंग प्रेस खोलो, किताब सब जगह भेजो. So he saw the particular tendency in that person, he engaged that tendency in service of Krishna. This is the main business of a spiritual master. To recognize actually the inclination of a devotee and use that inclination in service of the Krishna. That is most important part of the purport. I have पहली बार मैं इसको इस तरीके से पढ़ रहा हूँ, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. It's the most important actually. Then the devotee will be happy. Bhagavad Gita make it clear that one can attain the highest perfection of spiritual life simply by offering service according to his ability. कहाँ है भगवद गीता में? यज्ञ ना. Abhirichya. According to your varna ashram, you worship the Supreme Lord and will be perfect, get perfection. 18वें अध्याय में संभवतः या 17वें 18वें. Abhirichya, the word is abhirichya. You worship the Lord by your own personal varna and ashram, according to your own varna and ashram. See, maybe the 4 varna ashram duties after that, where is this verse? One should not perform the duty of other varna. It is very difficult, but everybody can perform his own duty and worship Lord and will be perfect. कहाँ है श्लोक? You all know, but find it out is better. नहीं मिल रहा है? नहीं? Sir? Yeah, this. Sway, sway, karane abhirita. Samsiddhi labhate. So karamane abhirita. Ko 18? 1845. अब हमारे को ये नंबर याद नहीं हो रहे हैं, क्या करें? या स्वे स्वे कर्मणे अभिरितः संसिद्धिम लभते नरः स्वकर्म निरतः सिद्धिम यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु. So before that is that the duties of the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and then this is the verse. यथा प्रवृत्ति भूतानाम येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तम अभिरिच्य सिद्धिम विन्दते मानव. This is the verse I was looking for. 46. The said Prabhupada has used this word. Yata pravritti bhutanam. Whatever is the tendency in one particular person. Yena sarvam idam tatam. Swakarmana tam abhirichya. He engaged in that work to worship the Krishna. And they got perfection in that way. Is it okay? So verse number 46, 1846. Okay. Now Prabhupada is giving example. Arjun used the Kshatri, his tendency to serve Krishna. Yeah? Arjun served Krishna by his ability in military art. Arjuna offered his service fully as a military man. And because and he become perfect. Similarly, an artist can attain perfection simply by performing artistic work under the direction of a spiritual master. If one is a literary man, he can write article and poetry for the service of the Lord under the direction of a spiritual master. One has to receive the message of a spiritual master regarding how to act in one's capacity, for the spiritual master is expert in giving such instruction. ये इसका superficial है, इसका deep इसकी meaning ये है. ये superficial meaning हमको बताई हमने आपको. Deep meaning ये है, spiritual master ultimately tell you your swarup in Krishna's service. What is your particular relation with Krishna and how you execute that. There is also, this is superficial level, and the deeper level is what is our service. It's called swarup of a disciple. What is his service in Krishna's pastime? There's also, a spiritual master has to tell this swarup. But in a spiritual world, your main duty is to make garland for Krishna. Right? So that is the higher level of the meaning of this verse, this purport. Okay? The conclusion is that, this combination, the instruction of a spiritual master and faithful execution of the instruction by the disciple, makes the entire process perfect. Two things, instruction of a spiritual master and execution by disciple. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur described this Vivasaya Atmika Buddhi Kuru Eke Nandana. And the purport of this is that only duty of disciple is to carry out the order of a spiritual master. And I think it is, you all know this or not. ISKCON is established by Srila Prabhupada after reading the purport of this verse in Bhagavad Gita by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Vivasayatmika Buddhi. When he read the purport that the spiritual master instruction is the life and soul of a disciple, then he took it seriously and he established ISKCON. So by simply the purport of this verse, the whole movement is established. This is what actually it means, that instruction of a spiritual master and execution by disciple is ultimately the perfection. Now the verse 8 to 14, Manu offered Devuti to Kardam.
Current situation, because of this this discussion about Guru instructing, spiritual master instructing disciple in engaging in various services. But generally we see multiple services also there.
No, basically, we must be trained in all temple activities. But ultimately, we have some inner tendency to perform service. So we may be trained in all, because when we go to school, we are told all the subjects. Well, ultimately, we specialize in one subject. Mathematics was there, geography was there, history was there. This is what general knowledge. But ultimately, you just become only one thing, engineer, doctor, or whatever. So similarly, we must know how to do all the activities in the temple, but we should be expert in particular field. That's most important. Like everybody should chant for 16 rounds, everybody should follow for regular principle, everybody should, have the morning program and attend the. But then, after that, some are specialists in deity worship, some are specialists in cooking, some are specialists in book distribution. So that is a special mood. So every devotee has a different mood actually. How to understand spiritual? Because right now this is not a prevalent concept in ISKCON. Now, recently I was discussing with B.B. Govind Swami Maharaj at Bangalore. We were discussing this type of thing. He said, but where is the instructing spiritual master now? We have initiating, but there's no instructing. But who is instructing? We have initiating spiritual master, but instructing persons. In society, we don't have instructing spiritual. The master who is instructing all through. It's not master. And then how can we know actually? So if we don't live with the spiritual master, ultimately, so we are an institutional movement right now. Our whole, energy is mostly in fulfilling the mission. But also we should have a time for our own spiritual growth. And that part is not addressed. This is what you are doing is something for your personal growth. This educational system is instruction of the acharyas. This is most important for personal growth. That is good for missionary activities, but this is good for personal growth. So prevalent earlier. Now there is some little culture of this, acharyas. I think this is what Maharaj told me, that for 24 hours you chant Hare Krishna, then you will be inclined to go to Vrindavan and have a liking for Vrindavan. Then in Vrindavan you read the Acharya's commentaries, then you will develop actually the taste for loving relationship with Krishna. So it is a long way to go, he said. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, that this is the standard principle to ultimately reach to that end. So this is something actually what you are doing for personal spiritual development. Sometimes you feel that what we are doing is really satisfying ourselves. Can you feel something like that? It says Atma Suprasidati. This is just giving satisfaction. We have taken this whole big decision in our life. The whole world is going in one direction, we are going in other direction. We are only few people going in other direction. So until unless we are satisfied within, we may not last long. The current will just sweep. So it's most difficult to swim in opposite direction of a river and to reach the source of the river. It's easy to reach this ocean and just mix with everything, but it's very difficult to reach to the source. And for that you need the good anchors on the way, because we will be tired. These are the anchors. In your daily service, you will be exhausted. These are the good anchors which will keep you in Krishna consciousness by relishing the beauty of the Bhagavatam and the sweetness and nectarine meaning of the Bhagavatam. These are the good anchors which keep us there. Okay, Hare Krishna, we can have a break for Gayatri, huh? And then we'll continue. Okay? Where is Nitai? Nimai Nitai? हाँ? आज वो भी नहीं आया हमारा बीरो से। वो कहाँ गया? वो कहाँ गया? नहीं वो कहाँ गया? वो लड़का कहाँ गया? हमारे उसका बेटा, हमारे फ्रेंड का बेटा।